What is the current council doing right? What is it doing wrong? And how would you like to change that if elected?
There's a lot this council is doing right. I'm pleased to be part of a group that has intellectual and philosophical differences, but that can come together around issues. Things we're doing right. We're talking through issues. We're tackling issues. When I was elected 4 years ago, I was told in my first meetings that the city was on its way to bankruptcy if we didn't solve health care, if we didn't solve pension reform, if we were at the point we cut 65 employees in my first year on council. We were operating on furloughs. We had to borrow from reserves to make our budget balance. We're so far away from that now. In fact, we're in the middle of solving each of those problems, and the budget is on a positive, we're in the black. It's a wonderful thing. The other thing that we're doing right is we're tackling substantive issues around the economy. We're investing. As government, we are good for priming the pump. We can't solve it. But we're seeing our roads, every time you do a roads project, every time you do a project like the Harrison Avenue project, you see owners bringing private capital to the table and investing. It shows them signs of good faith. What we're also doing right are things like streamlining our codes, reforming our contract system. My first 2 years on council, we spent so much of our time dealing with mistakes of the past. And we've really cleaned up how we do business, so we're a more professional organization. I'm very proud of all those things, and those were council-driven initiatives empowering our staff to do the work. You asked then, what are we doing wrong? I think we're not always looking far enough out. I think we revisit issues too often with ordinances. When I first went on, medical marijuana was the subject of the day. We must have had it on the agenda 15 times, with no exaggeration. And that's a ridiculous amount of time to spend on an issue that should be brought forward, the issues discussed, decisions made, the ordinances changed and approved. Even with the plastic bag ban, something that I was a real proponent for, having it come back and take up council time, we waste intellectual capital. What can we do better? I think the council should do a few best practices that we're not doing now. We should be doing retreats where we sit down together, really lay out what do we want to tackle in the next year? How will we get there? Focus stuff around it. We've done it with the business plan, but we haven't done it effectively, I think, ourselves in setting our intellectual agenda. Secondly, I think we should move our meetings to the evenings, at least one a month, so that we can have more authentic interaction with our community.
What state do you believe the city of South Lake Tahoe is in now as a whole, and how do you think outsiders perceive the city? How would your presence on the council impact?
I think my presence on the council has already started to impact how people look at our community because we're doing more. We're in recovery. We had been at, when I came on the council, a 20% unemployment rate. Those numbers have dropped. As a recreation destination, we're the first to feel economic pinches and the last to recover. We're starting to get the benefit of that recovery by all measures. Sales, TOT, property values, the number of people who are employed, our numbers are good. We need to do more, though, to stimulate and to balance our economy so that we're not as dependent upon a positive economy externally to keep us going. We need to be stronger if we have a low tourist season. Secondly, I think I talk to a lot of outsiders. They love the city. They enjoy it. They think we're languishing in the past. They do think we're tired, faded, and dated. We need to keep investing in ourselves. They also don't get a coherent message or image of South Lake Tahoe. And what I mean about that is when tourists and visitors come in, they look and want to find out, how do I get on bike trails? What is there to do? Where is there to stay? Where is there to eat? Messaging is all over the place. Other tourist areas are much better for the outsider at dialing them in to our personality, and the opportunities they have when they visit us. I also know in Sacramento, they're not really sure that we are good environmental stewards. I disagree with that, but that's another piece of my role in council and how my presence changes it. I'm the only council member who has a vital active interest and relationship in Sacramento broadly to be able to work on those fundamental levels to improve our relationships at a regulatory level, which is a big part of what we do as council members.